Each and every region has its own set of legendary Pokemon, and my custom region based on the Philippines, Buhay, is no different. Myths across the region vary on specifics, but two draconic Pokemon of unparalleled might are always found. Auliron blots out the sun with its wondrous wings, and Aguodon blocks out the moon with its fearsome fins, each of them having a deep hatred for these celestial bodies. The mighty Auliron desires to be the highest thing in the sky, and therefore it wants to eliminate the sun. The ferocious Aguodon wishes to be the only thing that controls the waves, and so it wants to erase the moon from the night sky. Both these Pokemon have many tales surrounding their attempts to destroy their respective astronomical antagonists, always ending in failure though, obviously. Why they fail changes depending on the tale or the lesson the storyteller is trying to impart. But a mysterious force always guards the sun and moon. Stay tuned to later in the video for what that force looks like. But now that we've discussed a bit of their lore, let's talk about the origins and inspirations behind these two. They are based on the Minokawa and Bakunawa respectively. Across this series, many of you have actually guessed that these two would be the legends, so good catch. And you can catch more of my videos by hitting those like and subscribe buttons, so go do that now if you haven't. Anyway, let's start with Aguodon, the Moon Eater Pokemon, a dragon water type. I worked with Foongoos to create this legend and the rest of the designs in this video, so make sure to check out their link in the description. As I just said, this box legendary is inspired by the Bakunawa, a very famous mythical creature from Filipino folklore that is described as a massive sea serpent that is said to cause rain and lunar eclipses, with the latter being what Aguodon represents and why it's such a moon hater. The Bakunawa was said to have risen out of the ocean and swallowed 6 of the 7 moons created by the god Bathala, one for each day of the week. It was described as having a long serpentine body, with a looped tail and a single horn on its nose, which those features present on Aguodon, with its tail spiraling to look like a loop, and it having this moon-like gem just above where its nose would be. The dragon water type was an incredibly obvious choice for this Pokemon, with the Bakunawa being a draconic sea serpent, and with the moon being commonly associated with the ocean and tides. As is customary with legendary Pokemon, it would gain a new signature ability and move. For the ability, it would be the same as its category, Moon Eater. This ability negates the power of all moves related to the moon. That means no Moonblast, Blood Moon, Moonlight, and even Moongeist Beam. If any of these moves are used while it's on the field, Aguodon will consume them, regaining HP and gaining resistance to Fairy-type moves for 2 turns. And for its signature move, it would get Eclipse Tail, a base 100 physical water-type move that ignores and cancels out any stat changes made by the target. Let's move on to our other box legend, Auliron, the Sun Eater Pokemon, a dragon steel type. As I said before, it's based on the Minokawa, an enormous draconic bird from Philippine mythology. It is so large that it can swallow the sun, being given the moniker of the Sun Eater, hence Auliron's category. This myth was likely made to explain the occurrence of solar eclipses, which is what Auliron represents and is the reason behind its sun-covering behavior. The Minokawa was said to have sharp swords for feathers, along with its beak and legs being as strong as steel. These features combined with the Minokawa's dragon-like ones made for a very easy dragon-steel type combo for Auliron. Similar to Aguodon, Auliron's ability would be Sun Eater. This ability negates the power of all moves related to the sun, meaning no Solar Beam, Sunny Day, Synthesis, and Sunsteel Strike. If these moves are used while it's in battle, Auliron will consume them, regaining HP and gaining resistance to Fire-type moves for 2 turns. And for its signature move, it would get Eclipse Wing, a base 100 physical Steel-type move that ignores and cancels out any stat changes made by the target. These two together have some additional inspirations. The Minokawa in some myths was said to eat the moon instead of the sun. This has led to some interpreting the Minokawa and Bakunawa as Titaness rivals, fighting over who gets to consume the moon. Well, did you know that in Bicolano myth, the Bakunawa has another rival? Her name is Halia, and she is a golden masked goddess of the moon, protecting it from the moon-eating serpent using a blade or other weapon. So let's take a real quick look back at Auliron. Feminine traits? Check. Gold mask? Check. Blade-like wings? Double check. So while Auliron isn't exactly protecting the moon, it's definitely a rival with Aguodon in the cosmic feeding department, both of which getting pissed off at the other in a dude you're totally stealing my bit kind of way. As far as their name goes, Auliron is a combination of AU, the symbol for gold on the periodic table, Aileron, a synonym for wing, Auliron, which in Tagalog means exemplary or the gold standard, and iron. Aguodon's name is a mixture of Ag, the symbol for silver on the periodic table, agua, a Filipino word for water that comes from the Spanish agua, Adon, which means lord or master in Hebrew, and Odon, which is the Greek suffix meaning tooth, like orthodontist or glyptodon. The gold of Auliron and the silver of Aguodon refers to the golden sunlight and silvery moonlight. Their coloration in general falls in line with previous legends being either the red one or the blue one, but they especially refer to Ho-Oh and Lugia, Groudon and Kyogre, and Solgaleo and Lunala, both in theme and color. Johto and Hoenn are based on Japan, and Alola is based on Hawaii. Those two regions share the Pacific with the Philippines, and are the closest areas to it with existing Pokemon regions, so I thought drawing inspiration from them would be fitting. Hawaii also has a sizable Filipino population, with both being descended from the Austronesian people, a seafaring people that spread across the Pacific. They share that cultural ancestry, and according to Filipino author Lane Wilkin, they even share some myths like Maui, a Polynesian god who you may know from Moana. So I wanted to tie the legends of Alola in with the legends of Buhai, and connect their people even in the Pokemon universe. Very quickly, I just want to acknowledge that I'm aware that Duskmane and Dawnwing's Necrozma represent solar and lunar eclipses, but I thought these two legends stood apart for two reasons. They're actual legends and not just forms, and Necrozma is an Ultra Beast, while these are full-on legendary Pokemon from this world. But most importantly, Auliron and Aguodon's colors draw from the flag of the Philippines, with Aguodon representing the blue and white, and Auliron representing the yellow or gold and red. Additionally, Auliron represents the sun on the flag. But what about these three stars? What are they represented by? Well, remember that force that seems to protect the sun and moon from these legends? Well, that is a legendary Pokemon in itself. Actually, it's three. To meet Entala, the nature star Pokemon, Watala, the sea star Pokemon, and Dirtala, the earth star Pokemon. Each of these Pokemon has the primary psychic type with their secondary type presenting in their categories and designs: grass, water, and ground. As a group, they are known as the Star Guardians, protectors from space that keep the universe safe from cataclysmic events, such as a sun or moon being eaten, with the psychic type acting as our type for all things cosmic or alien. Their designs are very much meant to feel both alien but also like a uniform, taking inspirations from groups like the Paladins of Voltron Legendary Defender, and both the Power Rangers in Space and Galaxy teams. While the three stars on the Philippine flag represent Luzon, Visaya, and Mindanao, the three major island groups of the Philippines, there are three stars in the sky that make a constellation known in Tagalog as the Balatic, but you may know them as Orion's Belt. Balatic comes from the name of a boar trap made of bamboo and rattan to create a spear launcher, with the three major stars of Balatic being the spear part. The full Balatic constellation encapsulates Orion's sword as well, and thus these three star guardians are the spear or sword used to defend the universe, and is also why they have these more diamond or spearhead shaped stars rather than the traditional 5-pointed star. But you can see that their headpieces in combo with their ears make a 5-pointed star shape when seen from above. That's all well and good, but I'm sure you're wondering, why do they have those specific types and designs? Well, each of these guardians represents a different Encanto or Diwata. These are human-like celestial nature spirits found within indigenous Filipino folk religions. They act as protectors of certain places and parts of the natural world, and manifest in different ways based on what they protect. Some have been described as elf-like, which is why each guardian has these pointed ears. Entala is based on the Capri, a large hairy creature said to live in trees, and smoke cigars, but obviously we omitted that part. But the tree part still remains, as the leafy hair of this Pokemon is at the top, just like a tree. Its name comes from Ent or Treant, which are large tree folk originating from the Lord of the Rings, but can now be found throughout different fantasy worlds, even the Pokemon world. Its name, as well as the other two, also come from the Tagalog word Tala, meaning star. Watala is based on the Sirena, which as they sound are like the sirens of Greek myth. Aquatic humanoids with the tails of fish rather than legs that sing to sailors and especially fishermen to attract and hypnotize them. As such, Sirena are seen as mythical guardians of the water, protecting the life within them from humans. Dirtala is based on the Duende. These are earth spirits akin to goblins or dwarves with long beards, which Dirtala has. But this Pokemon is more specifically inspired by the Nuno Sapunso, also known as the Old Man of the Mound. They are believed to live inside an anthill or termite mound and seek retribution on those who disturb the ground they live upon. Very, hey, get off my lawn, energy coming from these guys. But Dirtala's anthill/termite mound beard and headpiece, as well as its nonplussed expression, all come from this creature. All three of the Star Guardians, like many legendary trios before them, would all have the same ability, Cosmic Guard. which prevents them from taking any damage as the result of an ability. So things like Rough Skin, Iron Barbs, or Aftermath can't hurt them, and abilities that would increase the damage of a move like Technician, Sand Force, Steelworker, or Stakeout will only do the normal amount of damage. They would also get a new signature move, Star Strike, a base 90 special psychic type move that has a secondary effect that varies depending on which Guardian is using it. If Antala is using it, the move has a 30% chance to cause Harsh Sunlight, which would supersede Auliron's ability since it isn't a sun-based move. If Watala is using it, a Rainstorm can be summoned, and of course if Dirtala uses it, a Sandstorm can be summoned. And those are the legendary Pokemon of the Buhai region. Thanks so much to our amazing members who go that extra mile to support the channel, which you can also do by hitting that join button. And an especially big shout out to our art mages Living Lava, Bailey Pennington, and William Hartya. Thanks so very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.